I don't know if anybody's going to be able to watch this, but I'm just going to hang out a little bit while we wait and see if anybody sees the notification. Hi, Jennifer. Just going to wait for some people to file in. I have a story to tell. So, yeah. We're going to talk about that, Jennifer. We're going to talk about that. We going to chat about that. Files in. Hey, Draven. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, man. All right. There's people here, and there's still people coming. Hey, Julie B. Hey. We gonna talk about Ian, Draven. We gonna talk about Ian and the pains in the ass that he left. We gonna talk about it. Hey, Sabbath Social. Hey, hey, hey. We gonna talk about you too. We gonna talk about it all. This is a venting session, so. Oh goodness. So if I sound annoyed, it's because I am annoyed. Right? Just a heads up. So first things first. Yeah, Hurricane Ian. What happened? What happened there? So a lot of you all probably know that Hurricane Ian was a thing last week. It's been a week exactly, actually, since he hit my area. So I normally just say St. Pete, but I live in a subdivision of St. Pete. Um, Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you. Thanks, Jenna. I love that. Thanks for being here. Ah. Raven, watching on the down low from work. Raven already knows the whole story because poor Raven, poor Sabbath Social, I should say. Um, so, and if you hear outside noises, I apologize. My windows are open because that's the one good thing about Ian is that it brought in some decent weather. So yay, it's not super hot. So Ian, what happened? So last Monday, or I should say not this past Monday, but the Monday before, I woke up to some messages from friends and family, pretty worried because Ian was, uh, at the time, predicted to hit Tampa. Ian was supposed to make landfall on top of Tampa. Um, The bad thing about where I live, which again is a subdivision of St. Pete, if you go and you look at Tampa Bay on the map, St. Pete is like what's the fancy word for it? It's like a not an island, but it will be fine. It will be fine. And yes, so Draven lives, if I can say, he lives close by. So Draven understands. Peninsula. Thank you, Draven. That's the word I'm looking for. So St. Pete is kind of like a peninsula of Tampa Bay, which means that the bay stretches. You've got the Gulf, and then you've got the bay. So St. Pete is kind of at the tip of that little piece of land. So we are very much surrounded by water on three sides. So when Ian was predicted to hit Tampa, a lot of people were starting to get nervous. And I went through Irma, but I evacuated for Irma. And Irma did the same thing that Ian did, which is interesting. They both they were predicted to hit a certain point, which is where I was living. When Irma came through, hey West, hey hi. When Irma came through in, what was that, 2018, 17, somewhere around there. I was living in southern Tampa Bay, so I was in Bradenton at the time. So literally, I went from Bradenton to right across the bay in St. Pete. Anyway, with Irma too, it's really interesting. They predicted it to hit us pretty square on, but Ian did the same thing that Irma did. He shifted south, or he made landfall a little bit south, which is good for me, not so good for those south of me. So I continue to feel for those people. My new therapist actually is from Sarasota. She was telling me that she was without power for 5 days. She did not evacuate. And I was like, oh, girl. Oh, girl. For me, I'm from the Midwest. So the high winds and everything don't really scare me. I've been through tornadoes. I'm used to all that. For me, what makes me nervous is storm surge. Hi, Julie, listening from work. Awesome. But for me, my fear is storm surge, especially in this apartment that I'm in now, because we are a bottom unit. So I'm thinking, how far does storm surge travel? That sort of thing. So Monday comes around. I'm getting a lot of messages from people. They're like, are you going to leave? Are you going to evacuate? I have family in Jacksonville. And my cousin was calling me, and she was asking me like, hey, do you plan on leaving? Hey, Bree. Bree knows everything that's been going on too, because I've been venting to her as well. But, I told my cousin, I said, I really appreciate the offer, because she was offering me to stay with her, because sometimes we take trips up there just to hang out with them. They're pretty cool. And I've even done an episode of Drunken Divinations at her house before. So yeah, you guys have seen her on camera, I believe, once on my channel. But I was telling her, yeah, no, I don't think we're going to leave. If they give us a mandatory evacuation, I'll probably consider leaving. And that was Monday morning. So literally 30 minutes after I had gotten off the phone from talking to her, the maintenance man walks around the complex here and posts papers on our doors saying that, which I didn't realize this is what the paper was for, but he was posting papers on everybody's door. And then I get a phone call from my mom, and she's like, yeah, they're saying that evacuation zone C, which is where I am, is up for mandatory evacuation as of 7 a.m. on Tuesday. So now I'm like, well, shit. So I had two choices. I could either go to my mom's, who is only 10 minutes away, and no, she's not in a flood evacuation zone. But we decided to go to my cousin Jackie's, because we thought, well, if the power goes out here, it'll more than likely go out at mom's. And I would just rather go to Jackie's so that way there's power. I can hopefully salvage some of my food because we had went grocery shopping the week before. So yeah, it was a lot. So we pack everything up, including the dogs, the cats, the food, mostly meats, because meat's expensive. Um, and we make the 3-hour trek to Jacksonville. I was also in a hurry to get out because if my zone was already being evacuated 2 days before the hurricane was due to hit, I was concerned with evacuation traffic because during Irma, when we evacuated, it didn't even rain west. It rained where I was in Jacksonville. We were in like Orange Park area ish, and it rained quite a bit. So I'm surprised. But we packed everything up. We made the trek. I was more nervous about the traffic as well, so that's another reason why I was like, let's just go. Because during Irma, we were stuck. We went to Jacksonville, a similar area, but with different relatives. And excuse me. But we were in traffic for like 6 to 7 hours. So the commute doubled during Irma. But I think people were just more nervous during Irma because it was bigger. At least I feel like it was a bigger hurricane. But yeah, the traffic wasn't too bad. We did get stuck behind a fallen tree, but the wind hadn't even started on Monday. So yeah, the wind was crazy west. But anyway, so we stayed in Jacksonville. The hurricane hit. Mom didn't leave. So all night, Wednesday night and into Tuesday, I was messaging her, making sure everything was okay. There was significant flooding, but nothing too bad in my area. So then the concern was, how are we going to get home? Because there were a lot of trees down, a lot of roads were shut down. My mom had told me on Thursday, yeah, don't bother coming. They're telling everybody to stay away because the flooding was still really bad. Yeah, Draven. Okay, I figured Irma hit as a Cat 5. It's been a minute, and there's a lot's happened between then and now. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it was bigger. So yeah. I also remember on the way home from Irma back to Tampa Bay area, there were a lot of, excuse me, you'll hear a lot of this going on because I'm catching up on sleep. There were a lot of like trees down, lots of debris on the way home. With this one, there were, but it wasn't nearly as bad, in my opinion, on my route home, I should say. So we didn't leave Jacksonville until Saturday. Thank you to Cousin Jackie for letting us stay there. She was an awesome host. And yeah, so we were still in the track of the hurricane. As West said, he's in Jacksonville and he didn't see any rain, but there were significant winds. It was the same for us. There was a bit of rain. It was mostly sprinkling. It wasn't a hard rain, but the winds were crazy. And it was also really funny because the wind died down and you thought, oh, it's over. But Ian basically crossed to the state, went into, I should do it this way because I'm married, crossed the state, went into Jacksonville, passed Jacksonville, and sat in the ocean for a little bit, and then picked up. So it was a tropical storm by the time it hit us. But then as it passed us and back into the water, of course, it gains momentum and all that because water. So it went back up to a Cat 1. So the winds kind of like picked up again out of nowhere. It was pretty crazy. And then, of course, he moved his way up the coast a bit. So we left on Saturday. Oh, excuse me. To come back home. We got home. We left kind of late on Saturday, later in the day. We got home, I think around 10ish, 7, no, around 7. And this is where things get kind of icky. So we get into the apartment, and I had moved all of my plants inside, except for like my monstera I left out in the lanai. Um, and so we come into the apartment, and I'm expecting to, like, you know how you leave for a bit, especially if you have animals, right? You leave for a bit and you're not used to the smell of your home anymore. So I was expecting to smell like I left a litter box here. I have 2 cats, so I have 2 litter boxes. I should really have 3, but I only have 2. Um, so I left one of the litter boxes here, and I took the spare litter box when we evacuated. And so I was expecting to smell like the old litter. I was expecting to smell the animals, something, you know. Uh, but instead of something normal like that, it smelled like mildew, like highly of mildew, as if water had come in. So I looked around the apartment. I'm thinking, did I leave like a wet towel in the laundry? Did I leave any dishes or anything? No, neither of those things. It was so bad I could hardly breathe. So I knew it had to be something. I'm checking the floors, checking everything. Now, a lot of people don't realize, welcome back, Sabbath Social, aka Raven. A lot of people may not realize or know that back in March, I had some water damage. We had a leak, and the walls were damaged. And rather than replace the walls, the complex fixed the leak and then moved on. So as I'm looking for things, which they put like fans, dehumidifiers in our apartment for a good solid, I don't know what, a couple weeks, I think. Raven knows about it because I was bitching to her the whole time. Um, but I thought to myself, I wonder if there is another leak. Hi, honey Owlet Moon. You're just in time for the drama. So, you guys hear those parrots outside? Those are parrots. They're Quaker parrots. Um, so I open my closet, my utility closet, and the smell hits me even stronger. Like it's a brick wall. Like I just walked into a brick wall of mildew and mold. And I look on my walls, and grant you, the walls were always damaged because, you know, they were damaged. They never fixed them, but they were dry when I left. This time, when we came back, as I opened the doors, there is mold on the walls, growing up the damaged walls, and even past the damaged parts and onto the normal walls. And I opened, so I have a stack unit, I guess, for laundry. So I opened that closet, and it's the same way in that closet. And I look on the outside walls because some of my outside walls, so where my TV is, so you've got, if you're looking, you've got the closet, the 2 closets in the hallway, and then outside of, you know, this way is my living room, and up against the wall that shares a wall with the closet. Yeah, no kidding, Wes. No kidding. One closet wall shares a small wall with my living room, and that's where my TV and stuff is. So I'm looking at those walls, and to the naked eye, there's no mold there. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good at least. Like, I had to pull everything up into my living room. That's why if some of you have me on TikTok, I was laying on the couch and there were boxes above my head in one of my TikToks because I just did it to like, I was bored and scrolling through TikTok trying to relax. And yeah, but there were boxes. I had to pull all my storage out because that main closet in the front I used for storage also had mold. So 3 closets with mold, you guys. 3. It did. So yes, there was a river goddess there. My altar to the Morrigan and Danu was there, but I moved that to closer to the window, and I moved the TV and the entertainment area to that wall. So she actually was not there. Yeah, but so yeah, I could definitely show you guys some pictures. Maybe later on I will post them, but right now they are just in my phone and I don't want to think about it anymore. Because yeah. So Saturday is when I discovered all of this and I had to start pulling stuff out of the closet. Saturday, I called the complex. Right, Draven. I called the complex. Hi, lady. Oh, that's cool, Lady Blind Wolf. We should share notes. So I called the emergency maintenance number. And, excuse me. And had to leave a message first. And the guy called me back about 10 minutes later. And first he asked me, are you sure it's mold? Are you sure it's not just dirty? Because I don't think I mentioned that the mold was black in color. It was black. It was like, this is my laptop bag. It was this black. It was that black. As black as my phone. It was black. I said, yeah, I am 90% sure. I'm 99.9% sure it's mold. I said, because it's black in color, it stinks. And I have long matches for some of my candles. And I took a used matchstick and I scraped with the unburnt end, I scraped it against the wall to see if it would scrape off. And it did. It was like moss. It was as thick as moss. And, you know, it is. Yes, it is. So, also, mind you, my eyes are burning, they're watering, all kinds of stuff. And yeah. So, this is an issue. Like, my eyes would water even before the hurricane. So, basically, what I think happened is because the power went out here for almost 3 days. It went out Wednesday and stayed out until Friday, I think, Friday morning or late Thursday night. So I think where the power went out and where it was still just so hot here, all my windows were, of course, shut. So I think that basically it got so hot. My toilet even didn't have water in it. Well, it did, but it was very little. And all of my plants were like bone dry. So I think it just got so hot that all the water in the house evaporated, and including whatever was in the walls or whatever, just the humidity came in and it just made it worse and sped it up, I guess. That's well, so Gargoyle, here's the thing. So I called him and he said, are you sure it's mold and that it's not just dirty? I said, yeah, I'm 99.9% sure. And he said, okay. And I said, and that's why I would like it tested. And he said, okay, well, here's the thing. We don't test for mold, which I think is crazy in Florida. The one of the apartment complexes that I lived in Ohio years back actually did the testing themselves because I had a mold issue in one of my closets there, but it was a closet that didn't even share like any common walls with like plumbing or anything. So it was like crazy weird. And it was a different kind of mold. It was more of a fuzzy mold rather than a black mold. It was gray. And they tested it and said that it wasn't, anything too bad, and they just killed it. This guy, or this complex, I should say, Monday comes around. I had to wait until Monday. He told me that their process is they call in a third party company and they'll test it and then they'll do something about it. I said, okay. So I just have to wait. And he's like, yeah, you have to wait. So we called our insurance, and we said, hey, what do we do about this? And they said, well, you need to go through your items and you need to check those. And I said, okay, what about staying here? And they said, well, we can give you a place to stay if the complex refuses to. But you have to let the complex go about their process first so they have a chance to fix it. Okay. So we waited until Monday and I had something to do. So I can't even remember what I did. So I went and I did the thing, and then I come back and it was like 11 o'clock or after 11, and they still hadn't been by to test the mold. So I sent an email to the manager and I said, hey, this is what I was told when I called the emergency line on Saturday. Just trying to find out, has the third party been called? And if so, what's the ETA? I get an email back about 15 minutes later, and it says, we're going to come by your apartment shortly. Okay, awesome. So this is the first time the manager has stepped foot in my apartment since I've lived here. But he and head of maintenance walk in, and I've already pulled most of the stuff out of the closet. And I, show them the walls, and my floor where we had the leak months back has been coming up. And the first thing the manager says is, we're going to replace your floors. Awesome. That should have been done after the leak damage because the leak was so bad it seeped out into the living room and fucked up the floors. So I said, awesome, great, thanks. So they temporarily taped my floor down because it's a linoleum, they're cheap. And then they're looking at the walls and they're like, yeah, the manager says you're going to have to replace this. So they said, we're going to cut the sheetrock, the drywall basically, and we're going to replace it. So they took the front closet and the laundry room or closet shared a wall, and then the utility closet and the laundry closet also shared a wall. So they took out, hi Snow. So they took out the closet, the common closet wall that's shared between the laundry and the front closet, and they took out some of the entryway wall. Yeah. Right. So they took out some squares. They didn't even take, when I say they took out the wall, they didn't take out the whole wall. They just cut the bottom parts of the wall that they felt were badly infested. And it was much worse underneath those walls. So I mentioned that the living room wall that the TV is on, and the entry wall that you see that is behind the utility closet where the leak was. those two walls did not have any visible mold from the outside. I was able to snap a quick picture because the first wall that was removed was the entryway wall. And I was able to snap a quick picture of the underbelly of the utility wall, if that makes sense. Yeah. At least, I would say at least as long as that leak happened, and really we don't even know how long that leak was occurring before we noticed it, because we only go in the utility closet to change the filter every month. And by the time we saw it seeping out, and I have dogs, and one of them is a very old, messy eater and drinker. Like, she laps up water and gets water all over the floor. Dogs do that. So when I first started seeing what I think was the leak, I was writing it off as, oh, Rosie's just getting water on the floor, So basically, I'd snap a picture of the underbelly of the first wall that was taken out, and it looked like an episode of Stranger Things. It was bad. Yeah, Raven saw pictures because I said, girl, girl. They never tested it. They just had a contractor, I believe. Yeah, you can't. You can't. Agreed, Kristen. Agreed. But that's what they did. So they cut the drywall. And then the maintenance guy came in to check things. And it's also really funny because when they would come in, they would speak Spanish. Now, nothing against people speaking Spanish. I don't understand Spanish to a whole degree, but I understand words like mañana. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Snow. But I understand words like mañana. I understand I. And Anthony is Hispanic, so he grew up with a little bit of Spanish here and there. So he knows a few more words than me. So the maintenance man would come in, and he and I think it was a contractor, would speak Spanish. And the contractor, according to what between Anthony and I picked up, seemed to be saying that he was worried that the mold was higher up than what they could tell. And the maintenance man basically told him, do what you can do, and whatever you don't finish, come back tomorrow and do. So, Anthony and I aren't saying anything because we're like, I don't want to say, oh yeah, we know a little bit of Spanish and we know what you're saying, whatever. I just wanted them to go about whatever it is that they were going to do to fix it, because our insurance said we had to let them do what they need to do. So after 3 holes were put in the wall, the wall in the living room where the TV and most of the electrical stuff. So this is our TV, one of the main outlets, the thermostat, all that. That wall wasn't touched, but it shares a wall where the utility closet is. So I asked the maintenance man, I said, are you going to check this wall? And he said, well, no, there's no damage there. And I said, well, there's damage on that wall in the utility closet. I said, and the only reason why I'm concerned is because I didn't see any mold on the outside where the entry wall is. I said, but yet, there was mold there. You guys cut it out. I said, so I would like you guys to check this. So he seemed a little, offset with that. And he said, okay, well, I'll have him check it. So he had the contractor, just to put it simply, the mold on the other side of the wall inside of the closet was on this side. He had the contractor, it was a little upways like this. He had the contractor on the other side of the wall into the living room, have cut a hole, just a tiny little hole on this side. And he showed me the underbelly of the wall, and there was a little bit of a gray dusting there, but he said, there's no mold there. And I said, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, all right. So he said, so we're not going to make this hole any bigger. We're just going to cover it back up. Okay, all right. So at this point, I'm basically sending an email to the complex manager. And I asked him, I said, hey, I noticed that they're not testing this. I said, is that they're just cutting it out? Is that because they're sure that it's mold? And he said, well, we're not sure that it's mold. He said, but we don't do the testing. He said, so we're just going to get rid of it. And he said, we don't even know what stage it's at. And I'm thinking, what stage, what is that if you don't know it's mold? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, but whatever. Gotta let them do what they're gonna do, right? Okay, Kristen. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I can also say that there's wood beams, of course. Right. 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 And I will, so again, the only mold that we saw on the outside was in the utility closets. And I think that's just because that paint, they don't use a lot of layers, and it's a cheap paint, and um it was damaged from the leak months before. And so, yeah. But anyway, so I let them do what they wanted to do. There was still a little bit of blackness in the main utility closet, but they painted over it. I think the paint that they used this time had chemicals in it because it smelled really, really bad. Um, and yeah, so now the only other thing they're going to do is fix my floor, which thank goodness, because that's been a hassle. So I've been over the past couple of days, because this was just finished yesterday, right? Yeah, it was just finished yesterday because I was actually talking to my therapist, which is a new thing. We didn't even get started. So my first real appointment was yesterday. And I was talking to her, and she was asking me how things have gone. And I was like, girl, listen, this is pretty much just going to be a bitch fest. And I explained everything to her, and she's like, wow. And as I was talking to her, they came in to finish the work. So they just got finished yesterday, which is why I haven't checked in until now. So, hi, I'm alive. Sort of. I'm tired. And this is also why, if any of you are following Sabbath Social, which if you are not, please go and follow Sabbath Social. We will be going live tonight to do a what's coming up this month. We are not canceling anything. We just had to pivot because of everything. So there's some changes coming with that. So make sure that you catch that live. Or at least subscribe to the newsletter at sabbathsocial.com so you can stay in touch when things like this happen. And I do apologize. I really do, because it set us back quite a bit. But yeah, they just finished the wall repairs yesterday. And I'm gonna have to move everything to one side of the apartment Thursday, so that way when the people come on Friday to fix the floors, they can do so. And that has me nervous because I'm scared that there's more under the floor. Um, Hopefully not, but I am a little bit nervous. I also was going through more of our personal belongings that were stored in the front closet, which was the farthest damage away from the actual leak in February or March or whenever, and whatever month that was. I think it was March. And I had a huge box of DVDs, and it basically got so big because when I moved back to my hometown for a few years, there's no cable where I was staying, which is also why I was away from YouTube for so long. Have fun, Moon Fairy. Thanks for stopping by and listening in. But anyway, so that big old box, it was a big old chewy box full of DVDs I was going through today. And I was feeling really, really hopeful. There was mold on the bottom of the outside of the box. And I was like, well, maybe it's just the box. Maybe I'm lucky and it's just the box. Maybe I'm lucky. But as I was going through, I thought, ooh, these don't look bad, da da da. I get to the very bottom, which is, of course, where my OG Charmed. I have the Collector's Book of Shadows DVD set of the OG Charmed, and of course, it has mold all over the back, the underbelly of it, and the box that it came in is ruined and destroyed. And I cried. I cried a little bit. I did. I cried, and I was talking to Brianna and Mark and posting pictures, and yeah, I cried. And but the good thing is, if you have that set, it's so the book cover is cardboard, but it's very thick, and it's covered in this. It's not leather, but it's like a very good quality of like cardboard. It's got like a good printing on the back of it to make it look like the leather cover, but also it's got like this fake thin plasticky pleather stuff for the spine and the corner protectors. The pages inside of it were absolutely fine. The front of it was absolutely fine. So I thought maybe I can save this. So I'm looking through all of my chemicals that I have, and I'm thinking, do I have any like mold killer stuff? Like anything, like a lot of bathroom tile cleaners have like mold killer in it. And luckily, I had some. So I tried that, and it might have done the trick. Maybe. I am leaving it out to dry because it doesn't seem like it penetrated the actual cover. So I'm hoping it's saved, but we shall see. I did have like a portfolio bag of, I had big, huge sketchbooks, basically like sketch pads that I kept in my big portfolio bag that had like a lot of my college artwork and my portfolio in it. Ruined, gone, absolutely gone. If you guys go back and watch some of my older videos, I had started while I was in college. I started a tarot deck that I was drawing up and was gonna make stuff, and I never finished it, but I kept it, just so in case I did decide to finish it. Ruined, gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, the whole portfolio was infested. So, yep. So sometime soon, maybe not now, I'll post pictures so you guys can look at my Instagram and see how gnarly it was if you'd like. But it was bad. It was bad. So I've just been doing cleanup and all the things. It hurts. I also in college and high school I would allow my friends to draw things in my sketchbooks so I could keep them. Uh, yeah, that was me earlier today. um, but I would let my friends draw stuff in my sketchbooks so I could keep their work too, have a little piece of their work. And one of my very good friends, Kelly, drew me a um, a Sailor Moon picture, and I kept it, and I was going to frame it when I had got a house. Um, yes, most important is we are safe. Things can be replaced. Most things can be replaced. Um, but yeah, so my Sailor Moon photo or picture that she drew me is gone. So I have to get a hold of her and ask her to draw me another one. It was a pretty big one and it was cute and I liked it. But yeah. But yes, most important thing, like Kristen said, we are all safe. So that's why I have not been here for a hot minute. I haven't checked in since just after the hurricane went through while I was um, still in Jacksonville, and I believe that was I think it was on here, but I think it was also on Sabbath Social. So yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week. And how? And how? So yeah. I want to thank everybody, though, who checked in on us and made sure that we were okay on social media. I think I messaged everybody back and said, yeah, we're doing okay. We're just here. And, this is the plan. And, just pray for our shit because obviously we didn't know for the longest time what we would come home to. So, yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Come on, Calming Circle. No kidding, West. No kidding. Sanderson celebration is still going to happen. We'll give you more details on that tonight uh, during the Sabbath Social Live. We're going to chat. We're going to chat. So, yeah, we are. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, Bitch Fest over. I checked in. Y'all know we're safe. We're good. It's just been a pain in the ass. So yeah. Yep. And yeah. So the only other thing we have to do now is go grocery shopping because I have no groceries, at least no refrigerators, because that stuff was molded as well. Which we expected that to be bad, obviously, but ugh. It's no fun cleaning it all up. That's the worst part. It's the worst thing. It does. It does always spin back snow. Absolutely. So, yeah. I'm going to go as well. Thank you all for coming and listening to my rant, or rather my story, or whatever. And I'll see y'all later on Sabbath Socials channel. And also, don't forget to catch Drunken Dibs this weekend and Double Feature Friday on Friday. We have Nathan King coming on this weekend. If y'all don't know who Nathan is, do some research. He's pretty cool. He actually is from Michigan. I've known him for quite some time. Yes, no, whoop, whoop. I didn't know this until recently, but he's been on the Travel Channel, I guess, and also the Sci-Fi Channel. I didn't know he was on TV, but I did know he studied under Laurie Cabot while he was going to school in Salem, Massachusetts. Yes, hope so, Kristen. I hope. Yes, you don't want to miss this one. It'll be fun, trust me. But yeah, make sure you guys set your reminders for those. And those are both, I think, posted. Double Feature Friday is already on Chris Ashburn's channel, so make sure you check that out and set your reminder. And then double feature, Drunken Divinations is already up on this channel, of course, so you can go ahead and hit your reminder for that. But thank you all again for listening, and thanks everybody again who reached out. We really appreciate you all. Sending you all love. We are okay. And yeah, I'll see you later. He is so talented and amazingly kind. He really is. Absolutely. Bye.